Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. By now, you will have seen or will have heard about the controversy over Joshua Buatsi's win over Zach Parker. It was a majority decision win. I don't think Parker lost that fight. I think he won it quite convincingly. I put a poll up on the community page, which I'm not going to count the results yet, but it would seem to indicate that at least 2/3 of you think that Parker won that fight. It seems pretty obvious to me that he won it. But really, one thing that interests me, a question worth asking is, what's happened to Joshua Buatsi? Because this guy, when he turned professional, he was bronze medalist in the Olympics, turned pro with Matchroom. I think AJ was looking after him with his 258 management company. And he was considered to be pretty much a can't miss. And he did look early on in his career like a bit of a killer. Oh, it was lower grade opposition. But he looked good. He looked pretty good. And at times he has looked pretty devastatingly savage, against Daniel, Bienda dos Santos, French guy, I think. Doesn't sound very French, but I think he's based in France. He was undefeated in 15, and this was 4 years ago. Buatsi blasted him out. He looked savage against Ricards Bolotniks when he took him out late. Bolotniks is a decent European level fighter. He stopped him in the 11th round. He had some of his fights have been uninspired. Have looked uninspired. He moved from Matchroom to Sky and Boxer, and didn't at any point look really particularly good, at least on home soil. Actually, I say that the Callum Smith fight was in Riyadh. Was the Willie Hutchinson fight? The Willie Hutchinson fight was at Wembley Stadium, I think, and he didn't look bad against Willie Hutchinson. But generally speaking, his tenure with Sky and Boxer, he looked pretty much uninspired. I mean, that Pavel Stepien fight, he was undefeated as well when Buatsi fought him. And he won a unanimous decision convincingly, but there was no spite there. There was no real verve. And when you consider he's also beaten Craig Richards, that was a good win. Unanimous 12-round decision. He beat Dan Aziz, 12-round decision. That was a good win. I mean, I'm saying that he didn't look very good when he was with Sky, but okay, maybe I'm being a bit harsh. But the point is, he never quite got up to that level or hinted at that level that people expected him to, namely a world champion, maybe with more than one belt, a unified champ, undisputed. That's a bit of a tall order. But initially there were people were talking about putting him in with Bivol and Beterbiev and the other leading lights. I wouldn't like to see him in with any of those people right now, because he's definitely regressed, and this has not really been an overnight thing. Now, like I said a moment ago, he didn't look bad against Aziz or Hutchinson. Okay, he has been British and Commonwealth champion. They don't give those belts away, so we can't say that his career has been entirely unproductive. No. But the knock against Buatsi is that he's always been too precise, too conservative in his output. He doesn't fire enough punches, and also he starts quite slowly. He's too relaxed. Whereas when he turned professional, he did have that, control about him, but at the same time, he had a nastiness to him. And okay, you can say he's knocking out journeyman and also rans, but so when he stepped up, he took 7 rounds to get rid of Ryan Ford, for example, who's an unheralded American. It's all a bit. You have to consider the different levels he was fighting at. But certainly recently, he has looked. Well, I say recently, the last 2 years, 3 years maybe, because he turned pro in 2017. So the first 5 years of his career, he was sort of treading water. And then the last few years, he's not looked he's looked as if all that spite's gone out of him, as if all that nastiness has gone out of him, as if he's overthinking things, as if he's trying to be too perfect almost. And he's also looked as if he just doesn't have much fire in his belly, as even much motivation. Now, why is this? Okay, he's naturally a precise puncher. He's naturally someone who wants to fire punches when he's convinced they'll land. He's someone who likes to get into position. He's never had the quickest feet, but I think he cuts the ring off okay. You know, he holds his shape well. You know, he doesn't. You know, you can tell the amateur schooling is there. But I think there are several things to consider. First of all, this has been said by many people before, and that is that Virgil Hunter is his trainer. Is Virgil Hunter a very cerebral man? Is he the right fit for Joshua Buatsi? I don't think so. I'm not seeing it myself. Even against Willie Hutchinson, don't forget, I mean, he had Hutchinson on the floor twice. He had him, I think Hutchinson lost a point, and yet it was only a split decision. Now, it should have been unanimous in my opinion. But why was Hutchinson still in the fight? Because Buatsi was trying to be too perfect. He was trying to land too many precise punches instead of just letting his bloody hands go. Because when he did let his hands go, he was dealing with Hutchinson, especially to the body. You know, did we see much body work from Buatsi against Zach Parker yesterday? If it was there, I missed it. Against Aziz, he was, you know, clearly the more talented fighter. Again, the better educated fighter. But Aziz lasted the 12-round distance. I mean, he was over in the 11th round, but Aziz is a tough guy. But nevertheless, you would be thinking at that level, should Buatsi be getting someone out of there? Or Pavel Stepien, should he have got him out of the ring? Yeah. Craig Richards is a tough, talented guy, but... And again, that was the scorecards against Craig Richards were very close. I think that Virgil Hunter has almost diffused Joshua Buatsi. He's a very cerebral guy, a guy who thinks, possibly even overthinks, likes everything to be too structured. And there are times where, of course, structure is a good thing, but there are times when you have to just let your hands go and take some sort of calculated, sensible risk in order to counter whatever problems you're having. I don't think that that Hunter is the man for Buatsi. I think you've ended up with him kind of diffusing the bomb in a sense. Now, there's that element. And also, you have to look back to Buatsi's previous fight with Callum Smith, which was a terrific fight, a great contest. It was on early on in Riyadh, about 5 o'clock British time. And that was for the WBO interim belt. So there was definitely a cause to be motivated because you want to win that belt and maybe, you know, use it as a platform to get to the full fat world title. But he was genuinely beaten by Callum Smith. Callum Smith, I think, won that fight. One of the cards was too close for me. And that's not to say Buatsi didn't do any good work. He did, but Smith clearly won the fight. And look, you know, very good doing it. That was Buatsi's first defeat as a professional and the first time he's been beaten in a long, long time, amateur or pro, for many years. I wonder whether that's had a lasting effect on him. I get the impression he's not sure whether he even wants to be a boxer, whether he wants to be a fighter. He might be one of those guys who's got a lot of talent and does it because, hey, I can do it. I get paid for it. I get paid quite well for it. So I'll keep doing it. But it looks to me like he lacks motivation. He's got the wrong guy training him. And I have to question whether he really wants to be a boxer, whether he really wants to be a fighter. Because when you consider that he's got a very good chin, he's got terrific skills, and he's got some nastiness buried in him, which seems to me to have been suppressed. I do have to wonder, you know, maybe just don't want to be a boxer. Maybe he's, I mean, when he turned pro, he was signed on to a nice little fee by Matchroom. Boxer also put their hands in their pockets with Sky's money to get him over to Sky. And now he's with Queensberry. I'm assuming he's getting a good contract with them. Maybe he's gone soft a bit. I don't know. I'm only speculating here. I don't really know what's wrong, but it does seem to me that Buatsi might well go down as one of those fighters who hasn't quite maximised his talents. And that's a shame, because the guy, like I say, he's got good chin, good skills, a lot of guts. He showed a lot against Callum Smith, because he was hurt a few times in that fight, and he showed a lot. He didn't roll over. And he does seem to have a professional style as well. It's not as if not like some of these fighters who turn from amateur to pro, and you can see that the style isn't going to, it's not like that sort of Tom Stalker thing. To use him as an example, no offence to Tom Stalker, but when he turned pro, you kind of knew he wasn't going anywhere because he'd been amateur too long and his style was very amateurish. And this guy Buatsi looks like he's got something about him. And if you look at last night's fight with Parker, I mean, what is the thing we were saying about Parker? He don't like it up him. He doesn't like the pressure. He's a front runner. He doesn't like to be put under the cosh. What did Buatsi do? He started slowly, way too slowly, and just trundled after him, plodded after him, and allowed Parker to find his range, his timing, his footing, everything. He didn't question Parker, in other words. And it seems that Buatsi is just too conservative in his style and his output. And I have to lay that at the feet of Virgil Hunter largely. Because if you've got a guy, obviously every fighter has his own natural style. You want to enhance that, but you need to, try and iron out any potential serious flaws that may prevent victory, or that may prevent a fighter from at least maximising their talent. And if you think that Buatsi doesn't fire enough punches, you're going to have to work on that. It doesn't seem to me that Virgil Hunter does that. On the contrary, he seems to say, okay, no, you need to be precise. You need to be, schooling is everything. Well, actually, yeah, it's vitally important. But don't forget, you're talking about a guy who was an Olympian. He's already got the style, the tools are in the box. You've really got to bring them out of the box and start, saying to him, use this more, do this more, be busier. Look, I'm not a boxing trainer, but I know what I can see, and I can at least speculate, which is really all I'm doing, about a guy who, to me, is not using all of his attributes. And I think that's a real shame. It's not over for Buatsi. I mean, he's 32 now, so he's not exactly ancient. But after the Callum Smith defeat, tough fight. After this gift to Zach Parker, I just wonder. I think he's at a crossroads. I really do. And I think he needs to decide, you're going to piss or get off the pot. What are you going to do? But anyway, I don't know. What do you think? Give me your opinions, comments below. Thanks for watching the video. Please like the video if you liked it. And subscribe to the channel if you're new, and spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing. I'm eager to hear your take on this, because I think it's a curious one. Anyway, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'll catch you later. Bye for now.